Here are 3 ways to instantly improve your Spanish conversation skills. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to stop trying to be perfect before you say something. And this may sound counterintuitive to what you're probably trying to do right now. The mistake I see so many people make, including many of my students, is they'll try to formulate this perfect phrase before they even say it. And then when they go to say it, they either say it slow or they still mess up anyways. So if you want to get better at Spanish, you actually have to teach yourself to stop trying to be a perfectionist. You actually want to strive to make as many mistakes as possible. Think about it this way. If I am talking to someone for 5 minutes, in those 5 minutes I try to say 5 things perfectly, and I get them out, but it takes a long time to say just 5 sentences. Whereas, what if I actually tried to have a same 5-minute conversation with somebody, but I get to say 20 things that maybe aren't perfect and I make mistakes with them, but I'm corrected when I make those mistakes, so I'm learning more. Who do you think actually got more out of that 5-minute conversation? The person who tried to be absolutely perfect, or the person that was just talking as much as he possibly could, trying to make as many mistakes as possible, so that the next time he goes to say those same things and have that same type of conversation, maybe he doesn't make 15 mistakes. Maybe this time he only makes 7, So you're going to get a lot more out of a conversation by speaking and making as many mistakes as possible and just getting the words out than if you just try to be perfect. Because a lot of my students, I find, know a lot of vocabulary. They know a lot of these verb conjugations, but they're still stuck just trying to translate in their head first and then talk. Just start talking. Stop thinking about it. You know the words somewhere. Just try to just spit it out. And I promise that you're going to see an improvement in how fast you talk, in your fluency, and in your conversation skills. The second thing that you can do to instantly improve your conversation skills is to stop getting stuck on words you don't understand, but rather focus on the ones that you do understand. Let's say someone said to me, "Quiero ir al parque." Now, let's assume that I am like most people, and I have tunnel vision, and I lock in on the first couple of words somebody says, and by the time they finish their sentence, I'm still trying to translate the first thing that they said, and I miss the rest of it. So many people get tunnel vision, and what they should do instead is, if you don't understand a word when someone says it, you're not going to understand it 5 seconds from now. It's very unlikely. So don't miss the rest of the sentence. Let the rest of the sentence and the words that you do understand that they say help you figure out the context and what the whole purpose of what they were saying was. You have to get this out of your head that you're going to understand every single word and thing that a native speaker will say. It's not going to happen, and if it is going to happen, it's not going to happen for a very long time. And it doesn't have to happen. There's still things that I hear that I don't understand 100% of every little word, because there's always going to be words that are colloquial, that are specific to someone's country, or just names and places that I'm not going to understand. So why stress about it anyways? Instead, let's look back at this example, the quiero ir al parque example, which means I want to go to the park. And maybe I understand the quiero, but I'm still trying to figure out what he said when he said ir al, which is to go to the. And then I know parque. So even if I didn't hear the ir al, I heard the rest of it. I heard quiero parque, I want park. So I can figure out that this guy wants to go to the park. It's that simple. And if you apply that to even longer sentences, just try to literally do this, where you just sit back, you relax, and you just try to soak in and understand the words that you know off the top of your head, and you'll find yourself listening much better and understanding much more. The third and final thing that I believe you can do, that I did personally to improve my Spanish conversation skills, is to speak more. And speaking is more important than listening. You are simply not speaking enough if your Spanish conversation skills do not improve. practice makes perfect when it comes to learning Spanish and practicing and improving your Spanish conversation skills. If you're not practicing enough, then you're never going to get better. Listening, reading, writing, you can learn every single vocabulary word in the Spanish language. You can learn every single verb conjugation. You can even think in Spanish like a native speaker. But if you haven't had conversations and you haven't spoken out loud, doesn't mean anything. You're still not going to be able to speak. There are people who grew up in Spanish households in the United States, for example, or any country really, that still can't speak Spanish very well. They understand it perfectly. They can even think in Spanish. But when it comes to getting the words out, it doesn't happen that well. So don't be one of those people. Speaking is the most powerful resource to learning Spanish. That's why I've created the 14-day Spanish speaking challenge. By the way, if you haven't signed up for that challenge, go to michaelharperspanish.com/Spanish challenge, or simply go to michaelharperspanish.com and you can see that. But because having something like that where you're forced to speak out loud every day, it doesn't matter if you're speaking to someone, by the way. You can just have a conversation with yourself, and that's okay, even if you might mess up and you might not be corrected, but at least you're working on spitting those words out and taking these words that are in your head and getting them out into the air. There is more value to speaking than listening, reading, and writing. And you'll find that your listening skills actually improve so much by speaking. Your brain remembers words more when they're spoken out loud rather than when they're just listened to or read or looked at. So get to speaking. So to summarize, number 1, stop trying to be perfect when you say things and make more mistakes. Number 2, when you're listening to someone, don't get stuck on a word you don't understand, but rather try to just listen to the ones that you do understand. And last but not least, if your Spanish speaking or your Spanish conversation skills rather have not improved, it's because you're just not speaking enough. So get to speaking more. And if you want a help or a guide to doing that, check out the Spanish speaking guide on my website, michaelharperspanish.com. You can also see it at Michael Harper Spanish and Instagram. If you're watching on Spotify, be sure to follow and download this podcast. And if you're on Apple, please go ahead and leave a review for me. If you're on YouTube, give a like and subscribe for more videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.